A crisp white shirt for the price of a coffee. A designer-style jacket for the cost of a movie ticket. How is it possible that a brand can occupy the most expensive real estate in London, New York, and Tokyo, yet sell its products for almost nothing? You've been told it's just cheap labor, but the truth is far more calculated, far more dangerous, and infinitely more brilliant. There is a hidden psychological trap built into every H&M store you walk into, and once you see it, you will never shop the same way again. This is the secret blueprint of how a small Swedish shop conquered the planet by selling us the dream of luxury at the price of a sandwich. Welcome to Zero to Billion, where we uncover how brands rise from nothing to global dominance. The year was 1947. Erling Persson, a Swedish entrepreneur, returned from a trip to the United States with a radical idea. He had seen massive volume-based retailers and realized that the future of fashion wasn't in dressing the elite, but in dressing the masses. He opened Hennes, which is Swedish for hers. It was simple, affordable, and successful. But the real transformation happened decades later when the brand became H&M and pioneered a concept that would change the world forever: fast fashion. But to understand how they stay so cheap today, we have to look past the clothes and into the mechanics of their ruthless supply chain. Most traditional clothing brands work on a seasonal cycle. They design a collection, send it to a factory, and months later it hits the shelves. H&M threw that playbook in the trash. They realized that in the world of the internet and social media, trends die in weeks, not months. To stay relevant and keep prices low, they mastered the art of the ultra-fast turnaround. What happened next changed everything. They stopped trying to predict what people would want in 6 months and started reacting to what people wanted today. By stripping away the middleman and owning the relationship with hundreds of independent suppliers, they created a machine that could turn a design on a napkin into a product on a shelf in as little as 2 weeks. But speed is only half the battle. To sell a t-shirt for $5 and still make a profit, you need more than just fast factories. You need the psychology of scale. H&M doesn't just buy fabric, they buy miles of it. By placing orders for millions of units at a time, they exert a level of power over manufacturers that is almost impossible to fight. They dictate the price because they are the biggest player in the room. This massive volume allows them to squeeze every single cent out of the production cost. However, this is where the story takes a darker turn. To maintain these prices, the pressure on the supply chain is immense. It's a delicate dance between extreme efficiency and the ethical boundaries of global manufacturing. The real genius, however, isn't just in how they make the clothes, it's in how they make you feel when you buy them. Walk into any H&M flagship store. The lighting is bright, the music is upbeat, and the layouts are designed like a labyrinth. This is the scarcity principle in action. They intentionally keep stock rotating so fast that you feel a sense of FOMO, fear of missing out. You see a jacket today and you know it might be gone tomorrow. This triggers an impulse buy. You aren't just buying a shirt, you are participating in a high-speed hunt. They've turned shopping into a sport where the barrier to entry is low, but the frequency of play is high. This decision shocked the entire industry, the designer collaboration. In 2004, H&M did something unthinkable. They partnered with Karl Lagerfeld, the creative director of Chanel. People stood in line for hours to buy a piece of high-fashion DNA at H&M prices. It was a masterstroke of brand psychology. By associating their budget-friendly brand with the gods of luxury, they erased the cheap stigma. Suddenly, wearing H&M wasn't about being broke, it was about being in the know. It was democratic luxury. They proved that you could sell a billionaire's aesthetic to a college student, and both would feel like they won. But this was only the beginning of their dominance. As the digital age exploded, H&M faced a new threat: the rise of ultra-fast fashion giants like Shein. The battle shifted from the high street to the smartphone screen. To survive, H&M had to pivot again. They began investing billions into logistics and automation, trying to bridge the gap between their massive physical footprint and the need for instant digital gratification. They realized that being cheap wasn't enough anymore. They had to be everywhere, all at once. The cost of this expansion is hidden in plain sight, a relentless pursuit of growth that consumes resources at an unprecedented rate. The secret to H&M's low prices is a cocktail of massive volume, psychological manipulation, and a supply chain that never sleeps. They have mastered the art of perceived value. They give you the look of the runway for the price of a meal, betting that you'll come back next week to do it all over again. They don't want you to buy one expensive coat that lasts 10 years. They want you to buy 10 cheap coats that last one season. It is a business model built on the concept of disposable glamour, and it has made them one of the wealthiest entities on the planet. As we look at the empire Erling Persson built, we see a reflection of our own desires. We want luxury, we want it now, and we want it for nothing. H&M is simply the mirror reflecting that reality back at us. They aren't just selling clothes, they are selling the dream of a life we haven't quite reached yet, packaged in a plastic bag and sold for the change in our pockets. The journey from a single shop in Sweden to a multi-billion-dollar empire is a testament to the power of understanding human psychology. It shows that if you can solve the equation of price versus desire, the world is yours for the taking. But every empire has its price, and as the world moves toward sustainability, the king of fast fashion faces its greatest challenge yet. Will the model of cheaper and faster survive the next decade, or will the very speed that built H&M be the thing that eventually breaks it? This is 0 to billion, where stories turn into lessons. The path to wealth is rarely about the product itself, but about the system behind it. If you found value in this breakdown, subscribe and become part of the journey. We'll see you in the next story.